Hey everybody, so last time I finished up the look at animation for the X position. So basically along the X axis it can change where it's looking over time. And then uh, that's what the video was about. And then yesterday after that video I coded the look at animation along the Y axis, which I'm not even, in my animation here I'm not even using Y axis. So let me go over to that. Y look at, so I'm going to say, like at the beginning, look at -1. And then at the end, we'll look at +1. So we start off looking below it, and then we sort of rise up at the end. So let's try like maybe -2 and then 0. Although the 1 was pretty crazy. Um, so so kind of at the beginning, so let me pause this. At the very beginning, it's looking, the middle of it's down looking at 2, and then when at the end it's looking at 1 at 0, which is what it said. And what I was trying, and this isn't great, I mean, but it's not bad. I was trying to sort of be like, oh, I'm pulling up next to it, I'm in a different ball or something, and now I'm going to pull up next to it and maybe board it. But maybe I need to get a little closer. Let's try that. Oh, I don't I don't have Z lookup, so I can't get closer. But yeah, so maybe that'll be tomorrow. Is like, I'm boarding you. But I think so. If we go to X, the actual X position, so the perspective camera starts at -8. So here we're behind it by 8, and then we end up at 2, and the ball starts at -4 and ends up at 2. So you can kind of see that the ball is moving forward. And the only reason you can tell the ball is moving forward is mostly because of this thing here. Um, this helps too. The problem is you can't tell what the camera is, but you can tell it's moving forward, and that's staying stagnant or stable. And then I have a light that I had initially had animated, but I thought it looked better because of the way the shadows move when it's not animated anymore. But like I initially had it sort of going with, let's see, going with the um, just following along just above it. So, but see that light not moving, I think, kind of takes away from the animation itself. So, like if I turn it off, I feel like that looks less animated than when I had it at 0 and 0. See, I think the way that light moves across the way that shadow moves makes it feel a little bit more like um, like this is moving. But anyways, I think that's pretty cool. It's not a bad first stab at things. It's definitely so much cooler than um, you know a lot of stuff that I've done before. So I think this animations is coming along pretty nicely. Not a lot of code. There was only one bit of unexpected code. Like unpredicted code, I guess is a better way. Should have expected it. But basically, I in the camera just up changed the look at to an animated property descriptor. Had to do it for both of them. Um, I think that's totally expected. And then in the animation interfaces, I had to add X, Y look at. Again, I think totally expected. And then in the ThreeJS services, I had various places that I had to modify the code to look for changes or to convert these from numbers into objects, into the descriptor objects. Um, so I did that several times. Then whenever I'm setting where the camera is actually looking at, I needed to actually look at the value, the start value, not at the total object at that point. Again, these are so typical at this point. It's almost, almost up and other than one change, it was very zombie like, right? You just, oh, okay, this is what I did for X. Okay, this is what I need to do for Y. this is what I did for Y, X up here, so I need to do the same thing for Y. And then here we go. So this is definitely like kind of like repeating yourself, and so, trying to, it's not really, it doesn't really adhere to the dry principles, but I think it's okay for now. I do think that once I have like a nice set of changes uh, across all kinds of across various things, including scenes and all that, then I think it'll make more sense to try to then circle back around and sort of collapse these into non-repeating code. Um, so what's next? So in the animated items component, I just had to add that so that it would show up in this drop down. Why look at, and that was it in there. And then the animated property, which one is this? Component in the animated. So this was the animated items. This is animated property. I had to add the orthographic camera. This makes a little bit more sense when you look at it. So we have our animated items up here and then animated properties down there. So in the animated properties, which is a lower level, I just had to say that, hey, whenever, basically all this says is that the only thing that you should be, and only kind of pairs, animated pairs that you should care about for this attribute is perspective and orthographic cameras. So if you go to look at, for example, you don't see any of the meshes or lights in there. But if you look at X position, you see the camera, the mesh, and the light. And that's because over here, this is what does that. Unfortunately, TypeScript is not aware of this, so it throws errors. And that's why this extra code has to go in there, because it's just not sure if this 3 property name is going to exist for the item. So anyways, oh no, actually that's not true. So basically, yeah, as I mentioned last time, there's a small, like in the 3 object itself, the 3 camera object that's part of the 3 API, they do not have a property that you can retrieve that tells you what the current position is. So when I go to here and I go to look at, this number is up typically, like, so for like, if we go here and we look at the mesh, for example, this number comes from the 3 objects. So I go to the truth and get the 3 objects. Same with the light. But in perspective and orthographic cameras, they do not provide that. So I had to come up with my own way of doing that, and I did that, and I talked about that in yesterday's video. Let's see, let's go back to this view. So in the HTML, I just had to do this quick thing so that when we go to camera, and if you look at the raw data, it shows the right start position, start value. Same in the form. Basically, if you were to look at the form before, you would see like an object in here until I changed it to this. And we have to do that in a couple places. Here's where I take the object and whatever the user has typed in there, and then I put it with the start. I map it back into the object from just a regular number. And same with these two. It's the exact same thing. And that's about it. I think this is cool. I'm really, really happy with it. I think, I worked on this animation for probably about 15 minutes. And I think that's pretty darn cool. I can't wait until I have the export and import functionality working, because then it won't take nearly as long to work on these things, and I can just build on other things. Like, it would be cool if how I have this divot in here, if I had 15 of those all the way across, and then this would look better. And maybe if they spanned across this whole thing. And it's going to be, I think this would be even cooler if I could animate Z into it and get physically closer to it. But that's about it. And we are at a minute. So happy coding, everybody. Bye.